Hajime Bogo wa JD desu. Hey everyone out there in YouTube land, this is JD. I'm back again. I just found a new topic on YouTube and I have to talk about it now. The Mandela Effect. It's interesting because it is a topic that I enjoy. I'll put it that way. My wife and I are currently working on a project, a book, basically kind of like a twisty time travel. Wouldn't say love, it's a drama, action drama, thriller maybe. And since, I don't know, as long as I can remember, time travel has been my like go-to fantasy writing, daydream, anything. If it's about time travel, I've watched it, read it, wrote it, spent time thinking about it, discussing it, just as much as zombies. Because zombies are another thing of mine. So, at first, Mandela Effect, I said, what is this? What's going on? You just remembered it wrong. That's it. I mean, we all misremember things. I have examples of, I guess it would become my Mandela defense, not defense, but my examples. I have deja vu not quite often, but when I do, it is strong. And I've had this theory about it that I've told like a handful of people about. So let's talk about that for 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. So here we go. Deja vu. When I have it, and a lot of the people I've spoken with, feel free to put down in the comments what you do when you have deja vu. What is your first reaction? What is your natural instinct? For me, it is to pause, to stop. Like, whoa, just had deja vu. Did you feel anything? Talk to people around me. If I'm alone, I still kind of pause. I mean, unless I'm driving, because, if you're on the freeway, you can't just come to a dead stop. I do start paying more attention to the cars around me and stuff. And, it's a little unnerving every time. Like, every time. And this is my theory on deja vu, and I think it applies to this topic. Just, the Mandela Effect, because it just feels like it fits in. I've always thought that at some point in the future, that point might have already passed, and there are still just time remnants, time fragments, whatever you want to call them, that, tiny, microscopic, possibly as small as a single particle, a Tachyon particle from Star Trek, for example. As they're depicted in Star Trek. Where do I start? Yeah. So you hesitate, you pause. Let me start there. And since I hesitate or pause, and most of the people I've spoken to hesitate or pause, at some point in the future, a button is pushed, a switch is flipped, or an action is taken that causes, and it happens like at the exact same time that there's an alignment, or say that like it's CERN or Large Hadron Collider or whatever, that if that action is taken at that moment, it is the perfect storm. Particle A bounces into particle B, or a nuclear bomb goes off at the same time, that whatever, no clue what it is. It's fifth dimensional. And that is if you believe time is the fourth dimension, because we live in 3 dimensions, unless you see time as the fourth, and then we live in 4 dimensions. It's kind of off topic, but not really, because time travel would be extra dimensional. So moving slowly forward with my theory here. So deja vu happens, and that person pauses, hesitates, doesn't flip the switch or button as quickly, or push the button as quickly as he or she would have originally. And then, of course, goes ahead and pushes the button because it's either their job or a military command or etc. But there's that extra millisecond pause, which allows the perfect storm alignment to pass. And I've never spent much time thinking of what the actual alignment would be. But yeah, there it is. It passes. Well, that's the intent of DeJa-Vu, I should say, because in the original timeline, the pause doesn't happen. There's no hesitation. Push the button, flip the switch. Okay, done. And then boom, time or time space fractures, or it destroys the space-time continuum. And of course, the universe being the universe, or nature being nature, it fixes itself. Now, the way it fixes itself is simply reset. Except just reset, just a reset would cause a paradox, because then we'll just get back to the same point in time. Theoretically, depending on how you view, everything. But in mind, you get back to the same point in time, push the button, or flip the switch, and boom, same thing. Well, I don't believe in paradoxes. I don't think it's a possible thing. Just like water doesn't roll uphill and dogs don't fly. Because it's not something that is naturally possible. Along with the same thing, a paradox isn't possible. In all of my theories, a paradox is not possible. There's a thing. My idea is I call it a Servano bridge. But to be self-centered, I have to call it the Servano bridge after my pseudonym. So, time fractures. There are these tachyon particles, maybe another type of particle, that travel backward in time. They grow younger. Like as we age, the tachyon particle is actually growing younger. Let's say we both have a lifespan of 20 years. When I'm born, the tachyon is 20 years old. When I am 20, the tachyon is 1 year old. Of course, these particles would be infinitely aged. They would exist both at the beginning and the end of the universe. They just travel backwards through time. They reverse, they go against time zero. So after this switch is flipped or the button is pushed and the big bang, the big alignment screwed everything up and time fractured, these particles pass through us. And of course, they're passing through us, they're picking up memories. Probably one memory per particle, since DeJa-Vu typically is a few seconds. Like the most is that I've experienced is about 15 seconds. Maybe that was a cluster of particles. And later, when we are younger and the particle is older, it runs into us again. Deposits that memory, and it can only deposit that memory in us because it fits our brain. So that memory gives us deja vu. We hesitate. And the purpose of this is, as that person, like I said, pushes the button, he hesitates. He or she, and nothing happens because they hesitated. Moving on to the Serrano bridge I spoke of. The reason why I don't believe in a paradox. Let's say you travel back in time. Theoretically, the common thing is if you kill your grandfather, your father's no longer born, and of course you're no longer born. Well, then you never travel back in time, creating a paradox, because then you are born. And then you travel back in time and kill your grandfather, and then you're not born. It's a paradox, not possible, in my opinion. So once you arrive in the past, it is automatically changed. What changed? You took a breath of air. That air had oxygen that you just absorbed. When you exhale carbon dioxide. That's a different quantity of those two elements that you just changed. Not to mention the breath you either took with you, then you exhale, then there's more air. Stepping on the ground, period. You're bending a blade of grass. You're delivering microbes. Everything changed. Well, not everything, of course, but you introduced a whole lot of change. Even if you do it like you'd have to do it in a spacesuit, a sterilized spacesuit, enter from a vacuum, and then you're sucking air through the vacuum. Even if you manage to just perfectly adjust your body with no microbes on it, in a spacesuit, you're still standing on the ground, and you're in a place, you're creating a void in your suit where a void was not before. That's why it's complicated. So at that point, from that point forward, there are two realities. Whatever you do is the new reality. The original reality is still there. If you kill your grandfather, that new reality is the reality without your grandfather. That simple. Once you return, if you manage to return, you will be the only individual with the memory of both realities. But what happens is that the new reality merges into your line, and those changes that you made become one reality with the original reality. So A and B remerge. Just imagine a flat line, a long flat line. And here, on the point of the longer line, here you leave and go back. And you arrive here. You arrive at point A. You leave from point B. Now just imagine a bridge between that goes up and over. That's point A and point B being connected by the bridge. You know about point B to point A, you know about point A to point B. The original version. No one else will once you return on that bridge. Everyone else from there forward does not know about you. You still exist because you exist. Things don't just blink out of existence. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is gathered and dispersed. We have energy. We also have mass, but mass can be converted to energy. That's it. It's not a paradox. So you leave. You kill your grandfather. The new timeline not only has your biomass, the air you've been breathing, and it doesn't matter if you return with a time machine or if you let time ravel out naturally, you will arrive at point B. Your grandfather died earlier than you were born. No one will know who you are. It doesn't matter. Even if you do find your mother and father, they won't know who you are. It won't be a paradox. So let me know what you think about it. Give me a subscription if you like this little, it's going to be under my rants, but it's not really a rant. I might have to make a new category for this. Talking about things I feel a little passionate about, but I have my own theories on that aren't, you're wrong, or that's a silly idea, you crazy fucker. So yeah, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscription. Let me know what you think about the Serrano Bridge. Let me know if it's already out there, if anyone else has had this, and there's another video that I should know about. I've never seen it, perfectly honest with you. I've had that theory for a long time. I've told a few people, I know they don't have YouTube channels. They're barely active on social media.